This is Iceland, a stunning island nation located in northern Europe between the Greenland Sea and the northern Atlantic Ocean. Characterized by its otherworldly landscapes, geothermal hot springs, and never-ending sunsets. In this video, I'm going to be showing you 8 tips and tricks for photographers and videographers traveling to Iceland to help you be prepared for the unexpected, and so you don't make the same mistakes that I did. For the 7th tip in this video, I'll even explain our full itinerary and an explanation of every location we visited. So if you fall in the category of photographer or videographer and plan on traveling to one of the most beautiful countries on the planet, you came to the right place. My girlfriend and I visited last month for my 30th birthday and absolutely loved it. But there are definitely a lot of things about Iceland that I wish I had known before traveling there, because it is such a different country than anywhere else in the world. For the first tip, bring your drone, or purchase one if you don't already have one like I did. I got the Mavic Air 2 Fly More combo that came with the 3 batteries, which was perfect because Iceland is a country that can truly be appreciated from the air, and they have very minimal drone laws. There's some obvious laws like not flying around the airport, that sort of thing. And there are some landmarks where drones aren't allowed because they're tourist heavy areas. But aside from that, I would say about 95% of the country is droneable. But of course, do your research beforehand if you plan on visiting a location that I don't mention in this video. And while we're on the topic of gear, I would also suggest bringing your tripod and a remote shutter for those milky long exposure shots of any of the waterfalls you decide to visit. And of course, if you want to charge your drone, your camera, your laptop, and even your phone batteries, you're going to want to purchase a European to US adapter because Iceland uses the European plug standard. Next tip is to rent a car while you're there. Don't go the tour bus route. 2-wheel drive or 4-wheel drive, depending on where exactly you're looking to photograph or film. The freedom of having your own vehicle and being on your own schedule is unmatched. We went through Blue Car Rentals and highly recommend them. They were extremely easy to work with and even sold external Wi-Fi as well. So we were able to use our phones as a GPS and even had Wi-Fi connection on hikes. I'll link their website in the description below. But also I highly recommend getting sand and ash insurance for your rental for extra protection, just because there's so many car damaging variables when you're driving around Iceland. And it will save you the headache if there's any damage that's done to your rental car. There's a lot of gravel roads and the wind is extremely strong at times, and it's always better to be safe than sorry, at least when you're renting in Iceland. And to quickly segue into the 3rd tip, I can't mention getting a rental car without mentioning getting gas in Iceland. And this is mostly for those of you that live in the United States like me. Iceland gas stations work on the chip and pin credit card system, meaning that you put in your debit or credit card and enter in a pin to verify that it's you. Of course, credit cards in the States use a chip and signature program, so if you show up to a gas station with just your credit card that has no PIN, you won't be able to get gas. Also, every gas station that we went to in Reykjavik, the capital, didn't have an attendant present either. So make sure to have a credit or debit card with a PIN, or at least some sort of prepaid gas card. And now for the 4th tip, and this is gonna save you a ton of money when you're driving around from location to location, buy food and snacks at grocery stores. We went to a store called Bonus, and we actually only had to go there once for the entire 8 days that we were there. We purchased snacks for the long drives, fruit, energy drinks, whatever we felt we needed to survive the trip. Just like here in Oregon, the water is so clean you can actually drink the tap water. So we just refilled our water bottles before we left every single day. Even though we did eat out a few times for specific occasions and experiences, grocery shopping is going to be so much cheaper because food in Iceland is so expensive because they have to import pretty much everything, except for their hot dogs, I'm pretty sure. Which, by the way, if you're staying in Reykjavik, here's the name of the hot dog place that you need to visit. So fire. Another main reasons why you should be prepared with food and snacks from grocery stores is because once you leave the main city of Reykjavik, there's not a lot of other options out there. There's some gas stations and maybe some cafes here and there, but in terms of restaurants, there's really not that many options out there, at least in the areas that we visited. So it's really in your best interest if you're wanting to go out and film and photograph the landscapes to be prepared with your own food and water, and a grocery store is going to be the best choice for that. Now for tip number 5, you really have 2 options when it comes to having a home base: a hotel, Airbnb, or a camper van. For this specific trip that we went on, we chose the more comfortable route and chose to stay in a hotel in Reykjavik, the Storm Hotel to be exact. I mean, the complimentary breakfast every morning alone justified that decision for us from a money-saving standpoint. But I will say that it was disappointing that we didn't have the full freedom to explore the northern and eastern side of Iceland, since it would be 6+ hours of driving per day at that point. We also weren't able to visit locations like Dettifoss due to it being on the complete opposite side of the island. So when visiting Iceland, you have a choice to make. stick to a safe, warm, hospital home base, but sacrifice seeing some of the island, or rent a camper van, lose out on hotel luxuries like complimentary breakfast and showers, but gain all the freedom to explore. Next time we visit, I personally will want to go the camper van route. Let me know in the comments which home base option you would choose. Now the next tip relates back to all the no drone allowed signs in the tourist heavy areas, because tip number 6 is don't do touristy things. I already mentioned not taking a tour bus, but another example is whenever you're doing your research about going to Iceland, kind of like you're probably doing right now, you're probably going to hear and see that you have to visit something called the Golden Circle. You have to go see the geyser, you have to go see Gullfoss, and things like that. The reason that a lot of those things are so popular is because they're within a short drive away from Reykjavik. So most people fly in, go check out the touristy locations, and then leave. But if you're a photographer or videographer like me, you're not going to be satisfied standing in these very touristy locations with 200 other people taking the same exact Instagram photo. While I can't say for sure because I've never been, in my opinion, the Golden Circle is most likely overrated due to all the people that will be there. Great for tourism, great if you only have one free day, but if you want to see the real Iceland, the Iceland that millions of tourists haven't crawled all over, I would highly recommend traveling to other, farther locations. Remember, have camera, will travel. Allow photography to be the sole reason you go on these longer trips and adventures. And if you're visiting in the spring, summer months like we did, the midnight sun is a crazy thing to experience. So we found ourselves leaving at like 4 or 5 p.m. on some days and getting back at 2 or 3 in the morning. A perfect hack to avoid all the crowds. Now for my favorite part of the video. I'm going to mention every location that we visited in the order that we visited them. Feel free to copy the same itinerary if you'd like. I won't go into too much detail for each location. Maybe I'll save that for another video, but this section of this video is supposed to work as a guide on where you can go and what order we thought was most efficient to photograph Iceland. I will, however, also stress that there is no perfect way to do this, and to get the most out of your adventures through Iceland, you'll have to think and plan for yourself. And I highly recommend looking beyond this limited guide because there's literally endless original photos and videos that can be taken in Iceland. Now let's get straight into it with day 1. You are most likely going to arrive by plane to the Keflavik International Airport at 6 in the morning, where you will most likely pick up your rental car as well. The first stop we made was the Reykjanes Lighthouse and the surrounding coastal areas, which was only around 25 minutes south of the airport. It's a great seascape location to begin your adventures in Iceland, but it's extremely windy, so I didn't even try to fly my drone. With all the time we had left before we were able to check into our hotel, we decided to explore Reykjavik and see what was around our hotel. After finally being able to check in, we crashed from the jet lag, and then explored Reykjavik again later that evening and experienced the midnight sun for the first time. On day 2, the real adventures began as we drove an hour north to hike the epic fjords of Glimmer, Iceland's second highest waterfall. The drive to the Glimmer trailhead was beautiful and the hike was intense. Definitely lost my drone for a second while flying in between the cliffs. On day 3, we left later in the afternoon evening time and drove 2.5 hours to the famous black sand beach on Iceland's southern coast. The area with the basalt columns was very touristy, but if you walk a couple of minutes to another area of the beach, it's much more secluded. After spending a long time shooting at the black sand beach, we drove around 25 minutes to the trailhead for the iconic plane wreck. The hike to get to the plane wreck is very long, about 50 minutes each way, but was definitely worth it in my opinion because the location is incredibly unique. That said, it was basically 1 a.m. when we got back to the car with 2 hours of driving to get back home. So we actually cut our plans short for day 3 as we had originally planned to see a couple of waterfalls after that plane wreck as well. On day 4, which landed on May 31st, we dedicated my birthday to the Blue Lagoon. The initial idea for this photo vacation was to combine adventures with relaxation. So after an incredibly long night driving home from the plane crash, the Blue Lagoon was a perfect day of relaxation and incredible food. On day 5, we started our day late again, even grabbing some hamburgers in Reykjavik. I highly suggest visiting this location that translates to Hamburger Factory. Some of the best burgers and fries I've ever had. After our late start, we headed 2.5 hours north towards the Snæfellsnes Peninsula so we could visit the most photographed mountain in all of Iceland, Kirkjufell. This iconic mountain with its nearby waterfalls are a must-see when you visit Iceland. Now, I will admit this location is usually touristy, but since we showed up closer to 9-10 p.m., there were only a few other photographers and tourists nearby. After Kirkjufell, we headed 30 minutes south to the town of Budir to visit the famous Black Church. On day 6, we visited the locations that we missed on day 3, starting with the name that's on your screen now, which features a ton of beautiful views and an enormous cliff arch. Not far from that location, about a 30-minute drive, you can visit the most iconic waterfall of southern Iceland, Skogafoss. Definitely bring some sort of rain guard for your camera because the spray from the waterfall is intense. And after that, we drove another 25 minutes west and visited the final two waterfalls of the trip, Seljalandsfoss and Canyon Dweller. Canyon Dweller is kind of known for being this hidden gem in Iceland, but it's only a quick 5-minute walk from Seljalandsfoss, and I definitely recommend checking it out. On day 7, we planned for another relaxation day at the nearby Sky Lagoon, which was an amazing experience and in my opinion was better than the Blue Lagoon. The polar plunge followed by a sauna with a beautiful view was honestly life-changing. We also got our tests right after that since we flew back to the States the next day. Now to wrap up the video with a quick final tip. You need to book in advance and plan ahead, kind of like you're doing right now. We paid for the flight, hotel, rental car, and the booking for both lagoons at least 2 to 4 months in advance. So by the time we made it to Iceland, it honestly felt like a lot of the stuff was free. By that point, everything we paid for was already a sunk cost, which kind of justifies you to splurge a little more on hot dogs and expensive birthday dinners. Now that all 8 tips are complete, it does make me think about what I would do differently next time. I already mentioned getting a camper van instead of going the hotel route, or at least getting a 4-wheel drive vehicle so I can drive on more of those beat up roads with potholes. Because as soon as you leave the main ring road, most of the roads immediately get rougher, and that did come into consideration when we were planning where to visit. I will also visit in the fall or winter next time so that we can see the northern lights. Since my birthday lands in May and this idea stemmed from it being a birthday trip, I didn't mind that we wouldn't see the northern lights. Now that I'm back home and the trip is over, I can safely say that I completely love Iceland. I was continuously surprised with the magnitude and sheer beauty of the views that we were able to see, including the ones that we didn't even plan for. By the end of the trip, I caught myself hoping that this wouldn't be the last time I experienced the beauty of Iceland, because it definitely carved out a special place in my heart. In short, it's a 10 out of 10 destination for photographers and videographers. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you on the next adventure.